Hey yogis, welcome to the YogaLocal podcast and our studio here at Nencourt in Wellingborough. Today we are going to talk about oneness and integration and coming to the idea that we can pretty much do anything that we want and be anything that we want to be when we remember this. Okay, so this is going to be the culmination of this talk today. So first of all, let's talk about integration. What do I mean about integration? Okay, so I want to flip it. So I'm going to talk about separation, right? Integration, separation. So poor language, how we talk about our body as parts, as being separate from our environment, separate from each other, that all contributes to this feeling of disconnect, right? I'm me, you're you, I have a hand, I have a leg, I have a head, but we're kind of not using our thoughts to shape us in any kind of integrated way. We will talk about body parts as separate entities. They will get treated as separate entities. We will train them, right? We'll train our abs, we'll train our biceps, but very rarely are we kind of thinking about the whole system that contributes to this beautiful human being that is carrying our soul, right? Carrying our deeper sense of self, right? So we extrapolate, we dissect, we fragment everything, and this causes this feeling of separation, and it's an illusion, right? It's an illusion. This is what the yoga teaching is reminding us, like separation is illusion. We are whole, we are fully integrated beings, but we've forgotten this connectivity, and we're very much weighted on the side of the physical as opposed to the more subtle aspects of who we are, and that's a lot down to our activities and how we think, and our poor language and how we talk about our bodies as separate. Our thoughts literally shape us, and our body is changing all the time, right? Our body is shaping itself repetitively and responding and reacting to our thoughts and our activities and our experiences and our climate. Everything's all changing, all fluxing all the time. So separateness, yogis would teach, is an illusion, and our bodies are working tirelessly to try and bring it back into harmony, right? We've got all this external stuff going on outside of ourselves, constantly putting us into flux, and there's this part of us that's working tirelessly to create homeostasis. If our body temperature shifts just a couple of degrees, we are extremely unwell. Our bodies are designed to be whole, they're designed to serve us whole. We are designed to maintain this body, unify this body. And just as an example, like every single cell in your body is not working in isolation, it's not separate. And, if that is to happen, if our cells go rogue and start, heart cell wants to become a liver cell for some reason, that's going to cause a big problem, right? It's going to cause a big problem. So, we know that every single cell is working to unify the whole. Every single organ is working to sustain the whole. What gets in the way of that beautiful chemistry and biology and science is ourself, right? And how we think and how we feel and how we frame and how we shape and how we think and what we do and what we put in and what we hold on to and don't let go of. So one of the things that I learned recently was that when we smile, just two things: when we smile and when we hold ourselves upright, we are more able to retrieve happy memories, okay, than if we're kind of slouched and constricted and slumped. And if you think about your yoga practice, we're constantly working to reframe, reshape our bodies and manage our thoughts, master our minds. So this is where, when we start to understand that our practice is a lot about redefining our our relationship to our feelings, working with the body physically to refine our shape so that we can have more deeper energetic conversations, then that's when we really start to be able to connect to our sense of wholeness, our sense of stability and power through that connective understanding of who we are. So how do we get to that experience of wholeness? How do we get to integration? How do we get to feeling not separate, right? More integrated, more whole. Because it's natural, right? It's natural for us to be constantly in our external and constantly being pulled and extracted and extrapolated. So the practice is present moment awareness, okay? Bringing ourselves into a place where we are present in the moment. So free from all the drama, free from the activity of the body, free from the activity of the mind, and resting in a place of unchanging, pure awareness, not influenced or affected by any forces of opposites, you know, good or bad. It's just the witnessing state. So I like to describe this as the space between our thoughts, right? The gaps, the pause points. And you'll recognize this in the invitation to create a deeper breath with a breath retention. And we create that moment of pause where we slow the mind down. Slow the mind down and find that space between our thoughts, and also be able to witness the body constantly shifting and fluxing. When you think about a movie reel here, because it's a very similar concept, and it helps me get my head around this idea of present moment awareness. So if you think of a movie reel, it looks like an ever-flowing stream of activity with absolutely no breaks in between, and we get sucked into the drama. We kind of like we feel emotion depending on the flavor of the movie. You know, we'll be affected with, you know, increased feelings, increased thoughts. Maybe even like physical stuff will come up. Maybe, horror movies, and things like that. We can get very physical reactions. We become part of the drama, basically. Now, but actually, when you think about a movie, they are made up of individual screen shots, which are moving so fast and rapidly that it feels as one continuum, right? One continuum of activity. So if you were to slow that film down, if you were to slow that movie down, then you would start to notice that there are actually spaces between each moment. From moment to moment, there's a gap, there's a pause point. And in that pause, we can then experience the activity and be less affected by it, right? We can take kind of that back seat, that we can step into observer of witness consciousness and become less affected by the content that's playing out in front of us. We can make a better choice of how to respond, right? Because we're not being pulled into this continuum of activity, continuum of movement. And we can rest in a place of stability, of rest, of peace. And this is reminding us that there is always that aspect of ourself that is at peace, that is at rest, that can choose, that can respond rather than react. Yoga is teaching us that aspect of who we are, we're forgetting that higher level of awareness. We are more in our ever-changing nature, right? We're always on the go. The mind is always on the go. We're always in our bodies, right? We're always feeling the physical. We're always in the drama. Yoga practice, through our asana, through our breathing, through our meditation, starts to slow that movie screen down, starts to slow the activity down, so we can find that present moment awareness and our relationship to our highest sense of self, right? Higher awareness, which the yogis have a word for, as they do, a Sanskrit word, Purusha, the unchanging aspect of who we are, the ever-present witness, the observer, that is always at peace, always at rest. That is part of our human experience. That is our birthright, right? That part of us is always there. The trouble is, we've forgotten that that part of us is there to serve, and we've become lost in the busyness and the drama and the constant momentum of our ever-changing nature, which the yogis call prakriti. So, our movement, our circulation, our digestive system, our mental movement, our emotional fluctuations, all that activity, we tend to identify with that, and we've forgotten that we do have this really capable, resilient part of us that can choose and discern, right? And discern, and then from that place we make way better choices, right? Way better choices that are more aligned to who we are, soul level, connectivity, right? Integration with our nature and our individual nature as an expression of, the bigger picture, the bigger creativity that, birthed us all. We're integrating, right? Getting less separate, getting less out of the drama and more into that place of higher awareness, more connectivity, and then becoming supremely capable, because knowing that we are not just this ever-changing body, physical structure, but also something that is more infinite, more empowered, more resilient, unchanging. Yogis would say divine, right? Knowing that we are both, we can take on our life in a much more empowered way. So practices this month are going to focus on bringing us back to this space, to this gap, to this pause point, to this space between the action in the movie of our life, right? The movie of our life. And we are going to start to witness this unchanging aspect of who we are, the Purusha, and just remember that it is part of our human experience too. We are not just our thought forms, we are not just our energy body, we're not just our physical flesh and bone. And the union of these two aspects, the very manifest and the physical, and the constantly shifting, fluxing, changing part of ourselves, with that constantly grounded, at peace, able to discern, able to choose from a place of source and soul remembrance. And we bring those two together, what can't we do? What can't we do? And what can't we achieve? When we know that we're supported, when we know that we're infinitely capable, when we know we can slow things down enough to be able to make the most wise choice that's right for us. And when it's connected, soul level, source level, when we're in that space of higher awareness, not in lower mind, not in lower activity, all our choices become spontaneously right, and we can start to trust in that. When we can trust in that, that's when we lose the suffering, right? We lose the suffering and the fears and the doubts, because we know we're supported by this unfathomable source energy that is working tirelessly to support our soul-driven desires, right? We are here on a soul level to fulfill our desires, and we get in the way of that because we've forgotten that that's who we are. We've forgotten that that's what we're here to remember, and we just get stuck in the drama and start looping our life around like a broken record. So I'm hoping this is making some kind of sense. So this is where we're going to go. We're going to go into the witness. We're going to discover that place. We're going to become more connected to that place, not forgetting that we are like physical bones and cells and hair and all that stuff. We are this. We don't deny that aspect of who we are. We just need to remember that there's also this much more capable, more connected part of who we are that we are disconnected from, and we need to unify with that if we're going to really level up and empower ourselves to live our lives in a way that makes sense for us, sense to our nature, sense for the bigger picture, the bigger creative picture that is this world that we live in. So I'm hoping that's going to inspire you to come and practice with us if you've never practiced with us before. It's a journey, and we'd love you to start, really embracing yoga as a practice that's not just going to, again, work with one aspect of you and your separate self, not just work with your physical self, but let's really get under the hood and get this vehicle moving into some place that's really going to give us the possibility for living life to the fullest. So. Right, I hope that was helpful. If you've got comments, if you want to ask more questions, then please let me know in the comments, or any of the many ways that you can get in touch with us, or just come to class and let's have a conversation here as we practice. Okay, bye for now.